When it comes to streaming, gaming, esports, and business, one woman stands above the rest. Welcome to Streamer Class, your #1 source for everything streaming. Listen to compelling guest interviews about starting and growing a successful channel and turning your passion for content into a career. Now, here's your host, a two-time partnered Twitch streamer, owner and director of Evasion GG, and overall non-half-asser, Sigma.
Welcome, you guys. My name is Sigma. I'm sitting here today with SwampFoxTV. He is all over YouTube and Twitch. We became friends a while back when I stumbled across one of his videos that was helping everybody out, kind of learning some of the basics in Tarkov. And it was like 50 things that you need to know. And then he expanded on it to 101, which I actually watched last night. And even though I have over 8,000 hours in Tarkov, I did actually find good info in there, which was impressive. So, SwampFox, welcome.
Hi. Thank you.
Why don't you introduce yourself to everybody? You know way more about you than I do, so have at it.
I suppose I ought to. You know, I never really think about... Okay, listen. I actually made a meme about this the other day, okay? Because I went to a wedding party, and, you know, a ton of my girlfriend's family are asking, like, what do you do? And I was like, God, that's so hard to explain in a nutshell. Like, in a quick... You know, I can't just be like, I'm a lawyer. And they're like, okay.
Exactly.
Anyway, I've been streaming and making YouTube videos for a year and a half, almost entirely for Escape from Tarkov. Started with 0 social media following, been partnered for about half that time, I guess about 9 months maybe. And yeah, the YouTube's really picking up. Made my first movie, I could elaborate on that later, Tarkov movie.
Yeah,
and,
that was impressive.
Oh, did you see it?
Yeah, I got to watch some chunks of it the other day.
Yeah, it's a long one.
That's a lot of work. But yeah, sorry, go ahead. Don't let me
No, it's all good. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of just I really enjoy teaching people. A lot of my content revolves around that, or at least includes tips. Like even all my gameplay edits will have just minor pop-ups, you know, if my character like pops a Propital, it'll just pop up on the screen, like what exactly does that do? Like people get the gist sometimes, even, you know, people have been playing a long time might not know exactly what it does, you know, the stats on it. So I think that's kind of fun to throw in minor teachings, but not necessarily make all my, you know, videos noob-centric, so they could be a little more fun for anyone to watch. So that's kind of where I'm at now. That's kind of what my channel identity's become.
So how did this all come about? I know we just kind of chatted about it. I have a really funky story, and I love hearing other people's stories. How did you become a streamer, and what came first, streaming or YouTube?
I started at the same time. I knew that to grow a stream in 2020 or 2021 now, it is almost impossible to grow like a, you know, large successful following on Twitch alone. There are people who've done it in the past, but it truly is a different game now. It's very oversaturated. There are millions of streamers, so if you want to stand out, need to make content on a more discoverable platform. For me, that's YouTube. You know, Twitter, TikTok, there are other options, but that is absolutely, I mean, if you're trying to, you know, make a living out of it one day and make a business out of it, you gotta, in my opinion, you really have to make content on a more discoverable platform and then help bring that audience over to Twitch.
Yeah, because that works for you the entire time. Even while you're sleeping, people are able to watch your videos and then come over to your Twitch and follow you and pop in when you're live. I know it's something that I had some friends tell me to do, and of course I was like, oh, I will, but I went the other way. I was so overwhelmed with just streaming all the time that I wasn't making the content on YouTube. And I got lucky. I was one of the ones that grew on Twitch organically. But I do kick myself quite a bit for not jumping on to YouTube a lot earlier.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly can. I think you know, maybe you're being modest. It was probably more than luck, but but yeah, I know what you mean though. Like you know, you were fortunate enough to make that happen without, you know, having to have that other like repertoire of content.
Yeah.
To fall back
well,
on,
I networked like there was no tomorrow.
Yeah.
I think that was probably my biggest thing. I was in everybody's stream all the time, hanging out, never talking about my own stream, right, guys? Like,
No.
don't go running into somebody else's channel and just talk about your stream. It's not cool.
Just be like, hey guys, well anyway, I'm gonna go start my stream now. Have a good day.
Right,
Like,
right,
okay.
100%. Yeah. Sigma, what would you say is really good advice for somebody starting streaming? Because I'm about to go fire mine up right now. Yeah, I've seen that quite a bit. That's true.
Yeah, it seems like you could leave out that second half and still ask the question.
You could, yeah, easily. It's actually possible. I know some people don't think it is, but it is possible. So your YouTube followers, I believe you're sitting almost 60,000 now, almost.
Yeah, just about.
That's pretty crazy for a year and a half. And then I know your Twitch followers. I just looked it up yesterday, and you are almost at 17,000 there. I mean, you have really grown something huge in just a year and a half. That was there anybody that you were watching that you were like, you know what, wait a minute, I think I could do this?
Well, okay, that's the thing. So I never thought I was going to be a streamer. I used to. So I work at home. I've had an online hobby shop for years. That's what all that crap is. That's not my stuff. Well, it is, but
okay.
It's not for me to use. So I've been buying and selling like board games, D&D books, Magic, Pokemon cards, tons of nerdy stuff, DVDs, and all those puzzles and stuff behind me for years. And working at home, and I always had Twitch open in my second monitor while I worked, because why not? It's
sure.
helps keep things less lonely. But then I learned a lot about it over the years, over observing and watching others. And I think one day I kind of realized I think I have everything you need to do this myself, except I've never edited a video in my life. I don't even know how to put text on a screen. A year and a half ago, I literally knew nothing at all. So I knew I was going to take a while to have to learn that.
Wow, and you're so good at it now.
I'm getting there. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with where I'm at. It's humbling to see how far you really can go, though. And then I guess part of it too is you kind of have to figure out your channel identity. It's like, do you need to go, as far as possible? Do you need to learn like crazy edits? For some people,
you
yeah.
kind of need to just jump in there right away. I think don't get in your own way, right?
Yeah. I guess exactly. Yeah. Sorry, I got sidetracked in my head there.
No, you're good. You're good.
So, man, I wanted to build on a point you brought up.
Oh, we were talking about who were you watching?
Yeah,
who were you
okay.
watching? Who inspired you?
Well, okay, so that's good too. So I was watching a lot of people. I watched a lot of Dan Exert back then. This is back when he had like 60 viewers, and I was like, this guy's really chill.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Geeksay. I actually have a really good point to bring up too about him. One of the things I would advise new streamers, we might get into this a little more, but really just focusing on making good content and like breeding an environment where when people show up and they start watching you, they feel like, why am I not following you? Like that's the vibe you want to give off, I think, if you really want to explode, have more and more people show up and be like, yeah, why am I not following you? And that was the impression I got from Geeksay when I was in his channel for like 1 minute. I was like, what the heck? This guy's got his own like custom alerts and little pop-ups with like a sock puppet and shit, and he's really chill. I'm like, why would I not follow this guy? He's hilarious. Like, so it's kind of cool to see people, bring their own uniqueness, and that's something that I think will stand out the most, right? Because I mean, most people on Twitch are just sitting at their desk playing games, and I'm no exception, but you have to kind of think about like what other value are you going to bring to the table, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. I think it really does. Like whatever your strong suit is out in the world is something you can definitely translate to being one of your strong suits with streaming. If it's being social, I love being social. I've always been really, really good at that. And that translated so well here because I was able to just like nonstop talk with everybody. And so, yeah, whatever your strong suits are, you can build on those. And you can also work on others. There's a couple of people that I've actually ran into that have said, I'm actually kind of shy, but the second I start streaming, it really like brought out great conversations. And I got brave with people, which was cool to hear. So I don't know if you've ever dealt with just kind of getting nervous before you go live. I know I have, even though I'm social, but some people are finding their way through some of the hurdles you know, that they've maybe experienced out in the real world, doing it here on Twitch. So it's been kind of cool to see everybody's story back and forth when it goes to jumping out there and getting this stuff started.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, I've definitely felt a little nervous before the stream. Even sometimes I still do a little. I think that's probably natural. Probably a little less for me because I actually don't use a camera. I almost never do. So I have like that one less, or one fewer like thing to think about.
Yeah.
But I've noticed even I was watching Co-Carnage a couple months ago. For those of you who don't know, he's one of the grandfathers of Twitch. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen him live with less than like 10,000 viewers, and he plays any game he wants. But I remember he was talking about having to go speak at a family thing for like 20 people, and he was getting all nervous about it. And someone was like, "Dude, there's like 30,000 people right here right now," and he's like, "Yeah, but I'm not face to face with you. That's not the same."
Right.
That's
so true.
It kind of does help, I think, to think about it like that. It's like it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
You'll connect with people. They'll hang out if they like you, and it'll just kind of go well.
Valid point, for sure. That kind of makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to go talk to 20 people, but here he is, a big time streamer.
Yeah, just being as chill as possible, playing outward, and whatever.
We kind of talked about what helped you gain the most viewers in the beginning, or even now, is just doing the YouTube and streaming at the same time. Were you ever one of those people that thought, man, I got to be live 24 hours a day? Or did you just 100% know, like, I can see it from the beginning that YouTube is really working for me?
I knew from the start YouTube would be essential to growing a business. I mean, if you really do want us to be like something that can support you, you do have to treat it like a business to some degree. And that doesn't mean like, being a dick or a sellout to your community, but it does mean that you have to think of a viable way to justify the hours and hours and hours of your time it's going to take. I spend 50 or 60 a week between streaming and editing myself. Yeah, you kind of brought this up before too, but it is key to have something that is working for you 24/7, right? If you're just streaming, then as soon as you shut off the stream, your growth stops and it doesn't start again until you go live again. So just with YouTube, for example, I went away this weekend to that wedding party I mentioned earlier and came home and had like 300 more followers. And it's like, cool. This is what you want. You want to set something like this up for yourself, for sure.
Yeah.
And the next time you go live, there's a ton of new people in there being like, I really enjoyed, whatever it was that brought me here, video or a TikTok or whatever it is you're doing.
Right.
I think it's absolutely necessary.
Have you had any lulls? Have you had any lows where you were like, man, I'm getting a little burnout here. Like, can you see it coming, or did it just smack you?
I can see it coming, and yes, I've had a personal lull, and then also with Tarkov in general, and for those who might be watching who don't play it, the game is in beta. It's been in beta for a little over 5 years, and they give us a major update every like 2 or 3 a year that will wipe the progress of the game and bring everyone back to level 1, and that's usually when there's a huge surge of new people buying the game and a lot of people coming back. They'll run a break. So in between, sometimes when it's been like 5-6 months before we get a big content update, the interest in the game does taper off. There's definitely fewer people playing. I've noticed there's definitely fewer watching, but not like proportionally less than like the drop in player base. And I think it's because Tarkov is one of those games that's extremely interesting to watch, and you don't even really have to play it yourself to understand what's happening. Even at a glance, you could just look and be like, oh, they're trying to like survive and loot stuff. This is pretty cool. Like, you don't need to know the ins and outs. Whereas if I stream like Hearthstone, it's like if you don't know what the cards do, then you're like, I don't know what's going on, I'm leaving. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So there has been lulls in that. I think that, and I knew this would happen when I kind of tie my channel to one video game. I am starting to branch out now. We're starting to do more with like Rust and Hunt Showdown, but that is something you have to be aware of if you are going to sort of tie yourself to one game at first. There can be some ups and downs with it. So just kind of choose wisely. And with myself, yeah, that's the thing. If you're going to play the same game 4 or 5 days a week, it can get a little old.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true. I felt that before.
Yeah.
By the way, I really like watching Hunt Showdown, but playing it scares the hell out of me. That's my husband's main game for the last 3 years.
Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't realize you played.
Yeah, he loves it.
I
So
mean,
I watch those guys play. He plays it with like Bunny and some other friends, but I don't do well with it. I freak out. I get scared.
yeah, Hunt's pretty scary. I did have a Sherpa for that. I played with this guy named Lucan, Lukan, who's a Hunt Showdown YouTuber. I actually just watched one of his videos when I was getting into it and was like, man, this guy's really chill. I just asked in his video if he'd want to play, and he's like, sure. So that was kind of cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's nice to make a little network that way. But yeah, it is a game like Tarkov. It's probably a little scary to start out solo, or
Yeah,
maybe
big
a little
time.
too much.
Yeah. You know, it was the butcher. I think that's what put me over the edge.
Oh,
The butcher
God.
chasing me. And my friend was dead, and you know, it was just a mess. It was an absolute mess. However, it was a great YouTube video. Absolutely hilarious.
Good.
I was laughing and crying at the same time, which I didn't even know was possible. So, yeah, it was good. But yeah, branching out into those, you know, Tarkov and Hunt, I feel like we actually do have a lot of viewers that can go back and forth. They're aware of Hunt. We've had a lot of guys come over from Hunt to play Tarkov, so I feel like those two communities talk really well together. But if you were going to go play Hearthstone, you know, I feel like if you had a 100 viewer average, if you went over to Hunt, you know, you'd probably see 60 to 70. If you went to Hearthstone, don't be shocked if you're at 30.
Yep.
You know, as long as you're prepared for that and you just know, and even let your community know, that really does ease the hit. You know, you don't just show up one day in your Tarkov main and then throw on Hearthstone. You know, if you let your community know, hey, on Fridays, you know, I'm messing around with some other games, you know, yada yada. And honestly, if that game is burning you out, you probably play other games off stream as well.
I do, yeah. Hearthstone, actually.
Yeah.
That's where the
okay.
example
So
came.
there you go.
But I would
Yeah.
never stream it because, like you said, it has absolutely nothing to do with, you know, what people already follow me for.
Right. And that makes sense. Just I've seen a lot of streamers that, you know, they put 12 hours a day in and then all of a sudden switch up their game and then go, I don't know why nobody's around. Well, because you're just a Tarkov main. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. You can't just swap it up and not tell anybody. So
Yeah, it's a good point, though, is what I have brought up that we're starting to branch out now, but that is a year and a half in. I would recommend sticking to one game when you're just starting out and growing a following around that. And if you start variety, you're already, like, I guess giving you another facet that's going to make it harder for you to grow when it already is a really oversaturated market. It already is really hard to grow from zero following, especially on Twitch. So yeah, I would try to, you know, find a game that's already got like a nice following. It doesn't have to be huge. You know, maybe somewhere in the middle, I guess, because, you know, if you pick something like Apex, it might be really hard, right? But people might have to scroll down past 300 live streamers to find you.
right, 100%.
But yeah, definitely slowly growing a following in one game is, I think, in my opinion, a good way to start. You could kind of start branching from there, like, and maybe to things that have similarity, as you said, like, you know, Hunt or even Rust. You know, we're branching into other games that are also looter first-person shooters that have high stakes, so it's not a huge jump. Hopefully that makes sense.
No, I think it does, 100%. If you're like me, I still spend a big majority of my time going to smaller streamers' channels and hanging out, and because I think keeping I don't know, an eye on or growing the community, that networking aspect of it is so important. And the new streamers are important to me still. You know, I've never been one to judge off of viewer numbers only and say, well, I'm not going to hang out in their stream. They have 7 viewers. No, that's where some of the best conversations come from.
Yep.
But when I go there, I guarantee that there's things that are not done. Like panels, like alerts. You know, there's these little things that just don't happen until later. And it's almost like if you want to walk the walk, right? The second I show up and I have a check mark and I say, hey, and they go, oh my gosh, it's Sigma, you know, oh man, I can't wait to be that big, or, you know, whatever it is that they say. And I get all flattered because I still can't believe that anybody would be excited that I'm in their channel. But whatever it is that they're saying, I'm thinking, well, if you're fighting for this, you you need to walk the walk and talk the talk right off the gate. You know, simple things like panels are free to work on. What about you? Do you ever go to these small channels and then you look around and you see like a consistent thing that you're like, man, I wish smaller streamers knew, and then insert here?
Oh yeah, that's a good one. I see it a lot. Panels are a good one. Alerts are a good one. You can kind of tell when you follow and someone has that little like walking zombie that shows up, like the default, like they didn't even look at the alerts or try to make one. I mean, there's already a bunch of sounds and graphics in there. Even if you don't have anything ready, you could still customize it a little bit as like a placeholder. There are a lot of good resources out there too, especially if you're willing to put a little bit of money into it. I would definitely head over to Fiverr with 2 R's, and I've seen some places there can make some really nice panels for like $10. I mean, design some alerts for you if you start to have like a brand that you have in mind. Maybe make you a logo if you want one. Depends on the type of channel you're growing, but.
And I'll put that in the links below. I started off with Canva, I actually still use Canva to this day. I actually use their paid program because I use it so much for so many different things. But Canva is free, and you could look up any of your sizes that you need on Google and then just make your own, just something simple. But definitely a spot where I always scroll down to their, I'm not going to say what big streamer it was, but a very, very, very large streamer and I were sitting in a Discord once just chatting, and he said, yeah, well, look at this one's panels. We were actually looking at like smaller streamers, and he's like, the donate buttons first, and there's like nothing else. You know, there's like a donate button and an about me, and there's like one sentence on the about me and a whole paragraph on the donate button, and the guy has 28 followers. And it's like, if you can write an entire paragraph and make the donate button the very first thing I see, but then your about me section where I'm genuinely curious and I want to learn something about you has one sentence and it says you've been gaming since you're 5, I'm out. Right? Like, that's it. And this very, very large streamer said, before I host anybody small at all, I go and I look, and if their donate button is the first thing there, I move on. If it's their very first panel. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, because I want to see that they're actually putting effort into this. They're serious about that. If you have 20 followers and your first panel is a donate, what are you here for? You're not here to build a community. You're waiting to try to get rich. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, effort was the first like word that really stuck out to me, and what I was thinking of too as you said all that. You're putting like, hey, give me money over just putting in some effort. Like, you know, imagine spending 2 hours to make like a great looking panel section that says a lot about you and shows your gear or whatever, you know. Like, that would just,
true.
That shows that you're trying to give the viewer value, and like, oh, look at all this cool stuff about me, over like, hey, give me $10 or whatever.
Right. Yeah. 100%. It's the effort. I think genuine like stands out to me, being genuine. Cause you talked about that with your content creation in general, like brings yourself into it, bring something that's really cool about yourself into it. And the same thing goes. It's like going to a job interview, right? Like anytime somebody comes to your Twitch channel or your YouTube channel, they're coming to check you out. And like you said with Geeksay in the past, he had all this cool stuff and you're like, wait a minute, why am I not following this dude? Same thing with your Twitch channel. If they're coming to your Twitch channel and they read your about me and it's like one sentence, 2 sentences, and everybody starts off with the same thing, I've been gaming since I was a kid, then what are you putting out there for effort and being genuine? Nothing. So, and people can see through it very easy. People are not dumb. They are not dumb. They're not going to trip over and fall into your channel and be like, oh yeah, here's all my money. Let me follow, let me sub. They're not dumb.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That actually kind of brings me to another point, is having a backbone of content or a backlog of content is a really big deal when people first discover you. It's another reason why I think YouTube or something like that is so important, because as people discover your channel, whether it's YouTube or Twitch, and they realize like you have, you know, all these cool videos, right? They go watch one and they're like, man, this was sweet. And then they look and you have like 150 more, and it's like, oh, of course I'm going to sub to this. Like, of course I'm going to come back. This guy or this person posts like, you know, 1 or 2 times a week. Of course I want to see the next one, you know?
Sure.
That's a really big deal. And I do see a lot of small streamers wondering like, man, if I just got like a Shroud host or something, it would be all I need. And it's like, I'll be honest with you, I've seen people get hosted with 10,000 plus people that had, 10 viewers, and I look back a year later and they still have like 10 viewers because they don't have any content. They're just showing up and streaming, and there was nothing there. They weren't ready for it. Like, you need to be kind of ready. So always, this kind of goes back to what I originally said, is put your focus on making good content, not worrying about if some lucky thing will happen. If it does, then great, you'll be better prepared for it. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter, because you're going to keep growing it yourself.
Yeah. That's, that's a really good point. And I didn't even think about this when I was going through this with some of the questions that we got. But how many times have I watched a smaller streamer get hosted by somebody with thousands of people, and their alerts are so loud, it's not working, they can't figure out how to turn them off. In Tarkov, if you're a Tarkov streamer, they don't get into raid quick enough, right? I'm sure you've seen this. They stop, they freeze because they're so excited, and then they start going, thank you so-and-so for the follow, thank you so-and-so for the follow, and nobody wants to watch that. If you're a Tarkov streamer, get into a raid. I don't care if it's a scav run, whatever it is, just get into raid. During the lull times that we have in Tarkov, the loading and whatnot, you can turn and thank you and introduce yourself. Nobody introduces themselves anymore, I feel like. And I have to say, I'm guilty. Sometimes it's happened. But just kind of put maybe even a little post-it note on your monitor or something that says, turn off alerts, introduce yourself. Because your alerts are going to go ham.
That's a good one. That's, kind of goes back to like not being ready.
Yeah,
definitely the alerts thing. I know at first too, I didn't have something set up for a gifted sub situation. So if someone would gift 10 subs, it would play the sub alert 10 times. And it's like, dude, that's actually pretty friggin' annoying. Like, from a viewer standpoint, it's like, oh my God, there's all this crap on the screen. Like, and for me especially, I try to make my content as immersive as I can. I don't use a camera. I have nothing on the screen when I'm in raid. Because I think Tarkov specifically is such an immersive universe. I don't want that stuff like pulling away. But that's more about what I'm trying to do specifically, not necessarily advice for anybody. But still, you're thinking about those little things, like maybe make a gift sub alert, and then it will just say so-and-so gifted 10 subs, and then it won't come up 9 more times. Like you said, that's kind of nice. Or having the ability to just set up a hotkey to shut them off if you do get a massive host, so you don't have 1,000 follow alerts pop up,
Right, because they want to see your gameplay, and most people, they don't mind if you don't say their name right when they follow. Yeah. That's not usually the thing that they're there for. They're just there to like support you and see what you got. And if you get a really large host like that, unless there is something going on in your life, you need to stay on as long as you can. And I don't mean do a 24-hour, but if you're like, oh crap, I was going to get off in an hour, make it 3 or 4. Go ahead and carry that through, and really try to use that to your advantage, because the higher you are in the directory, the more views that you're going to get. And in the sense of people are going to come by, check in and see what you're about. And, they'll probably hang out for a few minutes and then leave. But still, that's really big for a smaller streamer. So try to use it as long as you can. I've seen a few people do that, and it's impressive when they're good at the game. They know how to talk to chat, and next thing you know, they were like, well, it's going to be done in an hour or two, but I decided to go for another 12 hours, but it really worked out for them. So I just feel like people aren't prepared for that stuff.
Yeah. Definitely agree. It is hard in the moment to be fair, but yeah, my advice would be, if you do get a big host, that whether you're ready for it or not, just keep viewer retention in mind as your top priority, and then worry about thanking them like right after, and thank the person that hosted you, of course. So in other words, like, to try to think from their perspective for a sec. 4,000 people join your stream all of a sudden, like, how do you keep them from not being like boring and clicking away, because they don't know you? Probably none of them know you. So
right,
like you said, jumping at a raid is good. It just gives you something else to look at while you're talking. Don't freeze up and read follow alerts. That's probably the worst thing you can do. No one cares. Sorry, no offense, but it's just kind of the reality of it. So
yeah, and be excited. I know some people, you can tell they're holding back. They're like, oh no, what do I do? Like, I don't want to look like a dork. But we love it when people get excited. It makes everybody so happy.
Be genuine.
Yeah, who doesn't want to see somebody smile? It's like a Christmas morning. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, so let's talk about gear, because you and I had kind of talked about this a little bit before. What was for me, it was actually building a rig, and we put a lot of money into the graphics card part of it. But what was your first big investment? I know we add on as we go, but what was the thing that you got that you were like, man, this really like helped me out a lot, you know? So what was that for you?
Okay, well, I have two different perspectives on this, because I will answer your question, but I also want to add a caveat that when you do start to get some level of success and you do start to see some income, I would put any of the money that you're going to put into your stream, I would make sure you're prioritizing something that makes your viewers' experience better. So, like, maybe don't worry about getting, like, a fancy mechanical keyboard that you don't need yet, or a better graphics card if you don't necessarily need it yet, and concentrate on something that makes the stream better. A better camera, a better mic would be an example of that, right? Because they're getting better audio quality. I don't know, this looks pretty crisp. This was a $50 camera. I mean, you don't have to spend a bajillion dollars to, like...
You don't.
you really don't.
No.
But
the mic, I think, is really important. A lot of people have bad audio out there, and it's so important to not have bad audio.
Yeah, that is my answer to your question, is audio over everything else. Make sure your audio doesn't suck first. One thing I think a lot of people don't realize, and it almost might sound bad, but it's not. It's just like Twitch as a whole is kind of like second monitor content, if that makes sense. It's like, in other words, a lot of people will put it in their second monitor or their phone while they're doing something else. So they're not like always looking at the screen. That, you know, when you start yelling and getting all hyped up and you hear a shootout or whatever, they're going to look, but like,
right.
They're not glued to the screen, you know, like the audio matters so much. They're getting the constant audio, and that's more, I think, important for making better content, and just for, you know, your viewers' ears. Always prioritize that. And it's not just the gear too. With the microphone, you can get something that has a decent preamp, like a Blue Yeti, I guess, if you want to get like a good starter mic. That'd be a USB mic, so you wouldn't have to buy a mixer or a Go XLR or something like that. And they sound okay. But I would also like test your audio, look up a YouTube video on how to do that, and like understand what clipping is. And I see a lot of streamers, like, I was just watching this guy the other day who has 5,000 viewers, and he was clipping, which means when your voice level goes up, and then it'll start to clip the top of the sort of audio spike off, and it sounds awful. It sounds so amateur, and it's like, it's really easy to avoid with the proper noise gates and thresholds on your mic. You could set that up in like 20 minutes, even if you barely know what you're doing.
I actually did that with, sorry to interrupt you, but Gaming Careers, if you've ever seen that channel.
No.
Right when I started streaming, he started making YouTube content for like streamers that are trying to figure out OBS and how to put an alert in. I will link that mic video down below, because honestly, I've sent it to so many people. It really does help out, and it might be a little frustrating, but like Swamp said, spending 30 or 40 minutes or investing in these things are so important. That mic, that issue, just, yeah, we all know it as a veteran streamer, which I guess that guy didn't, that you were watching the other day. We don't have to say his name, but that stands out so much. It's important. Work on your audio.
Audio is huge. From there, I would get a decent camera. This is a C920. Like I said, it was like $50. I think they're like 60 now, maybe. And then get some decent lighting. That lighting is something that, like, it seems like a lot of newer streamers don't grasp, and you don't need expensive lights. I'm not a great example because I don't use a camera when I stream. I'd say this lighting is like fine, but not great. I would get maybe one more behind me to add some depth if I were going to leave this on all the time. But I'm just using a freaking like $20 desk lamp. Like, it's not a big, like, you know,
right.
You don't need anything crazy.
You don't. I actually, you might laugh at me, but I have just a white window open over here on my right. And then I have since I have our stream questions right here, that's what I have open, which is on the white background. That's all I have. I don't, that's it. you know, and then whatever I set up back here is just speaking for itself.
Yeah.
It's having a whole conversation. So
see, even that, see the difference that just that one little light makes. This is kind of like, I don't know, it's a little dark and weird. I feel like this kind of,
yeah, that does help.
yeah.
I like it. Yeah, those things are important, and you don't have to necessarily use a camera. You're a perfect example. There's a lot of streamers out there that don't use one. I think it's a great way to build. You know, you can, if you're not going to be out there pushing yourself on a lot of other platforms, and you're somebody like I am, anything that's happening, you can read it on my face. You know, when I get pissed or when I'm excited or when I'm, you know, celebrating something, or, you know, I get the hell scared out of me, like chat finds that hilarious. I cannot hide any of my emotions. They are on my face. If you're like that, then chat is going to want to see it. And if you're a lot more laid back and like you have a great voice, so I can see why you could do that, and you socialize very well, you stay on top of your chat. Those things are really important. If you're not going to have a camera, you've got to be interacting with your chat when they're interacting with you.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do want to add to that. So it's true that I don't use a camera, but I actually would recommend 99% of new streamers do use one, because like I said before, you're already pitting yourself up, you know, into a pool of millions of others. Like, don't give yourself another reason to not stand out. It's like, if you have a specific reason or plan for it, which I do, it translates into my YouTube content. So I'm deliberately not using one for my content. But I think for most situations, like you said, it is better to have one, especially if you're going to grow a channel around being a little more social, or like a personality type thing. I can think of a lot of people that come to mind already that, like, you know, people aren't there for the game. They're just there to hang out with the person. The camera is absolutely essential for a lot of them. Yeah,
that's true.
But it depends what you want to do.
Yeah, and if you're not somebody that can get into a raid quickly, a lot of guys, you know, if they have cameras, the perfect time to just sit back, kind of fix their inventory, BS with chat a little bit. But then you have other guys that are just go, go, go.
Yep.
So whatever fits. But I do agree with you on using a camera when you start out, for sure. I think it is important. Just another notch in getting yourself noticed.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, this one. If you could go back and tell yourself 3 things right when you were starting this journey. I mean, you were like, wait a minute, I might be able to do this. If you could have walked in at that moment to make a real difference, what are some of the things you would have told yourself?
That's a great question. I like that one. I actually thought about streaming and planned for a good year before I pulled the trigger, which is probably a little atypical. So I tried not to have too many of those things, but I would have thought a little bit longer about my branding. I do like it, and I'm not going to change it. But I think when I started, I didn't really know, nobody really knows what their channel identity is going to be. And that I promise you it will change. Whatever you think it's going to be, it's going to change probably multiple times as you go. I might have thought a little harder about that, but I am pretty happy with where it ended up. I like the name. I like the branding overall, but I would have just put a little more thought into it, I think. Okay. Second thing, we'll get into this in a little bit about kind of like spending that first dollar. We talked about it a little bit when we were talking about gear, but I would have started investing in myself sooner, monetarily.
Okay.
In like the look of the channel. We'll get into that a little bit later, but definitely I would have invested in myself a little sooner, and specifically with the money that was coming in from the stream and YouTube, not right off the bat, is what I meant by that.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Just put it back into what you're earning, kind of put it back into the channels. Yeah,
I did. I am happy with how I did that, but I just think looking back, you know, with that retrospect, I would have done it a lot sooner. And I think I don't. So this is a little weird for me to say, talking to you specifically, because I wouldn't. For most people, I wouldn't maybe put as much weight on how powerful networking can be as opposed to making content on more discoverable platforms. However, it does matter. It is important, and I would have networked more sooner, looking back on it. I really didn't network at all in my first 6 months. I don't think I'd do it with a single other streamer or anything. So I probably would have done that a little bit sooner.
Well, I think your method of putting the effort into not killing yourself on Twitch and just streaming nonstop, but I think your method is something that I would recommend above my method. Mine worked, but I think yours has more commonly shown better results. Is that how you would word that? More commonly?
I would
edit that out.
I think
it shows better results, though. I truly do.
I think it shows like consistent results for sure. I think that networking does matter, but it's also it is another thing where you do need kind of a backbone of content for it to start to snowball more. And in your case, you do. Like, you're more well known. You have a good base viewership. But I have seen people play Among Us with Ludwig, and I go back and they're still like 50 viewer or less streamer, but they were playing with a guy who had like 40K when he was, you know what I mean, while he was live. Yeah. But it doesn't really matter if when people come to your channel, they don't see much and they're like, it's like, again, that backbone of content is pretty critical, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And across everywhere, I think starting your channel and then months down the road going, oh, well, I guess I'll get a Twitter. I don't usually use it. That blows my mind. I'm like, wait, you should have your Twitter, your TikTok, your Instagram, at least just snatch the names up so that your name is consistent across the board and you have those. I don't see a lot of people that immediately think of these things to do, but this is why I'm doing this. That's what I wrote you, is because I want to try to help as many people as I can kind of clear out the fluff that we can get ourselves into and focus on some of the things that are a lot more important. Now that we've already been down that road, we can look back and go, oh yeah, this is actually important. That was important. Like you said, maybe investing a little bit more in yourself from what you were making, but sorry to interrupt. You're on your third one.
Well, actually, that's probably better. I do regret not snatching up the name everywhere, and I did miss it on a couple things. So now I have a slightly different name on a couple of platforms that I think actually got taken because I got some level of popularity, and people were like, "Oh, yoink, I'll take this name."
Oh,
it's like, whoops. So, I would probably grab it on all the social medias. However, I would at first only focus probably on 2, on maybe 3 at most, depending on what your life looks like, how much time you can put into it. But most people who are starting are going to be also working, and you probably can't put full-time hours into it right away. So I wouldn't stress yourself out being like, man, I got to post on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok every day. Oh my god, don't do that. You can't, no, that's too much.
No,
you can branch out later into some of those other ones anyway.
I'm terrible at Instagram. I don't do anything with Instagram. It's maybe a picture here and there because I don't want it to be the exact same thing. And you shouldn't either. You shouldn't be posting the exact same thing on Twitter to the exact same thing on Instagram to the exact, because then it's really boring. So all my stuff on Instagram is usually behind the scenes or actual family stuff. And then Twitter is more business and networking. And then TikTok is just a goofball mix of everything. Probably a lot of stupid stuff from Tarkov, because Lord knows I got a lot of it.
Nice.
But yeah, keep it mixed up, even if you are busy, like you said, because a lot of people are starting out, right? And they're working full time and they're going, wait, I've got to stream 4 days a week, and I've got to do editing, and I have to do social media. Like, it's very overwhelming. But like you said, if you pick 1 or 2 things and then kind of expand on it here and there once you get your footing, that's a lot easier to do. A lot easier.
Agreed. I'm only just branching out into TikTok and finally using Twitter more myself after a year and a half. It was all just YouTube and Twitch at first. Well, I do have a little bit to add, actually, because I think I was in a unique situation, and I do think when people are going to start trying to have a streaming career, you definitely want to consider everything else that's going on in your life. If you have a spouse or kids or anything too, it's going to probably be a different story. I don't, so I was able to put a lot more time and energy into it at first than maybe some people can. But that doesn't mean you can't just kind of send it at your own pace. I think just being realistic about your goals is crucial. Before this, I have almost entirely a business background, with a lot of like customer service, and while that doesn't sound like it would translate over, it kind of does. I also have a marketing degree, so that's kind of helpful. So I don't know, I just kind of noticed that I would be a good fit for this, and then when COVID really started to break out, I was already streaming a bit, and I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna send it. I can do it. Like, I'm already stuck at home anyway. Let's just see how far we can take it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's kind of, I guess that was the last half. I probably should have said that earlier, but anyway. So okay, yeah. One huge thing I notice for newer streamers, and even some that have been going for a while, is people get way too numbers focused. I would advise you to almost not care about it at all. I mean, definitely look in and check in and make sure your channel's trending in the right direction. Don't like ignore it. But when I'm live, I have my viewer counter off on my Twitch dashboard. I never know how many people are watching, and I just act as though there are thousands of people watching all the time. Then if there really are, the demeanor of my channel will barely change, right? But
Right.
It's important. It kind of goes back to like that feeling of giving people like, why am I not following this? This is cool. Like, dress for the job you want in a way, but I mean, it's also, I think it's just good to get in the habit.
Yeah.
Then when you grow to that size, you'll already feel like you were there already. It'll feel much more natural for you and your viewers.
Yeah.
But it's also very, very distracting. I noticed when I had it on, when I was newer, even if I only had, I had like 50 viewers and then I had 30, and then you start to think like, am I being boring? Like, why are all these people leaving? And it's like, don't do that to yourself. Like,
No, don't.
a Twitch
Have
stream,
fun.
yeah, a Twitch stream is a rotating door. Like, if you have an average of 100 viewers, you might have had over 1,000 people come by that day, and you just don't realize it. That It's not that it was just like 100-ish people watching you for the whole stream. So keep that in mind. Don't take it on yourself. When people are leaving, obviously be mindful of your content, but
Yeah.
and then the same with YouTube. I had the YouTube Studio app on my phone, and I realized, my girlfriend helped point this out, but when we were watching TV on the couch, I would check it like 5 times, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, do you need to look every hour and see that you got 3 new subs? Yay! Like, just put it away, man. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
Oh no.
so
I get it.
yeah, so deleting the YouTube Studio app and turning my viewer counter off have helped me a lot, and I would put that out there. I've also seen people get really hyper focused on hitting partner, and I want to tell you guys, it's a cool milestone, and you should be proud when you get it, but don't worry about it. Don't think about it. Stop looking at your average viewer count, being like, oh, it's at 65. I just need a little more people before I can apply. Don't, just keep focusing on making good content. Keep focusing on making good content. That's it. It'll get there. It'll grow.
Yeah. I did that. I actually did make myself pretty bonkers. But in my defense, I had 100 viewer average for a year, applied 7 times, and over a 10-month time frame. So for a year before I even started applying, I had 100 viewer average, and then my applying was just, like I said, 10 months long, 7 applications, and I finally got partner. But it can make you want to go beat your head against the wall, right? It's like, well, you have to make sure that you're staying here, and what's working that day that you did really, really well, and what maybe wasn't working very well. Oh, my attitude sucked. Well, imagine that. I had lower viewers that day. But nobody really wants to know why you have lower viewers. Like, they don't get to the root cause of it. They just go, oh, well, my viewers are low. This is miserable. This sucks. I don't know what I'm doing so wrong. Well, you don't actually want to hear what you're doing wrong. I promise you. And because it's just a bummer, like, hey, when you die, don't be, in Tarkov, you've seen this. Don't be so salty. Well, nobody wants to hear that. Like, no, but I was so mad because this and this happened. You really have to take account of what the emotional roller coaster is that you'll send yourself down by just looking at those numbers day in and day out. It's not good. So I agree with you 100%. Turn off the viewer counter. Talk to your channel nonstop. Even if you only have 2 or 3 people talking, talk nonstop. Talk about what you're doing, why you're doing it. Like, watching your YouTube videos is so helpful because of that. Because you don't stop talking. And even the vets, like you said, if you throw something up on the screen, we might not actually know what Prophet All does for how long. I do, because I use it all the time. However, this is the kind of content that helps bring in more people, is just talking all the time, being helpful, being positive. And when you start staring at those numbers, I guarantee you it's going to give you more bad days than good. So,
yeah, well said.
I back you up.
Yeah, thank you. Definitely well said. I can see how applying for partner for 7 months would be frustrating.
Yeah.
Definitely, a lot of these pitfalls I'm recommending are things I've done myself too. So it's not like it's not like I just did everything perfectly and was like, just do what I did and it'll work. Like I messed up a lot, but but that's how we learn. And
It's true.
yeah, the partner thing too. Just to touch back on that. Currently, if you're curious, as of this recording, you need 75 average viewers on Twitch to apply. That doesn't guarantee you anything. And they do really care if you have social media following elsewhere. So if you have started to get a big, Twitter following, YouTube following, you absolutely need to bring that up. Mm-hmm. I applied right at 75 just for the heck of it, just to see what they'd say. They said exactly what I thought they would, which is, you're doing great, but we want to see a little more growth. I was like, okay. And I applied again a month later, which was the minimum you had to wait. I think you had to wait 30 days. And I had 90 or 100 average viewers, and they let me right in, except the email went to my spam folder, and I didn't notice it for 2 months. so I just kind of snuffed Twitch. I was like, I don't want it anymore. But no.
I saw you wrote me. Didn't you write me and tell me that? Didn't you say,
yeah.
I found it in my spam folder?
Yeah, they let me in 2 months. I was like, why is it taking them so long to respond this time? It's
my god.
It didn't. They responded the next day, and I just missed it. It's like,
that's
oops.
Crazy.
Okay. But yeah, having that backbone of content matters for Twitch partnership as well. They absolutely look at it. Yeah, that reminds me of something I really wanted to bring up, and there's probably not the greatest way of putting it, but if something's not panning out, if you're not getting the viewers, or you don't have enough, I don't know, subs or whatever, wherever you want to be, you need to, this is my opinion, but you need to always assume that the problem is you. And that there's something that you're missing, that you're, it doesn't mean you're making crappy content, but it means assume that, your negative outlook on, Twitch didn't partner me, or I watched this thing with Sigma and SwampFox. I did everything they said and it's not working. It's just look back at what you're doing. Are you making content are you genuinely making good content? Are you putting it out there in the right way? Are you spending a lot of your extra time learning how to do that? Yep. Almost all of my spare time, I'm watching YouTube tutorials on how to do what I'm doing in some way or another, even if it's just to make one nifty little transition in my next video, or if it's these types of outlooks. I've watched a lot of Harris Heller and Alpha Gaming. That might be a good one to link below. I probably watched every single one of his videos and did just about everything he suggested. So it does work.
I had to laugh because you're so right. I'm sorry. I mean, that was just a spoonful of good, honest truth is what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but stop, just take a step back. I know it's hard sometimes, but just try to look inward and be like, what could you be doing better? And focus on that, not on Twitch didn't partner me, or, I'm not enough people are showing up. Again, focusing on the numbers thing too, just try not to do that. I did see somebody who was close to a partner, and they kept mentioning it to chat over and over and over. We're so close. It's like, man, it's not their responsibility to get you there. I even saw them go so far as to get a host and be like, hey, can you leave and come back, because then you'll count as a natural viewer instead of one that came from a host, and that will up my chances of getting to that 75. And it's that's not don't do that, please. I get that there's a goal in mind, but hitting partner isn't some, it's a nice milestone. You should be really proud of it. It's not something that's going to make or break your channel at all.
Yeah, it's not the end all be all. I'm grateful for my check mark. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
I don't know how long I am into this, a year and a half, 2 years. I have two channels that are partner now, and it didn't all of a sudden blow me up. I don't think it is what a lot of people think. Like you said, it's a wonderful milestone, and I'm grateful for it. And I know that it took hard work to get there, but that doesn't mean you stop or all of a sudden you get a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, or nothing like that happens. Now it just means work harder.
Yeah, but I hope you are proud of that. You have to be one of the only humans in the world that has 2 partner channels.
Thank you. I am proud of it. I am. I really am. Truly.
Just to kind of, I don't want to like deter anyone, but it does remind me of just, I want people to like, that are genuinely considering this as a career to like know what you're getting into. So I will say that as a partner with like, I don't know, 250 average viewers, I'm like well in the top like 0.25% of streamers on the platform, which sounds weird. It's not a gloat. It's like wait, that's all it took to get in the top like 0.5 to 0.25%? Because I mean, you see some other people out there that have, whatever, like Summit or Ninja or whatever, that have like jillions of viewers, and it's like it really helps you put into perspective. It's like, wait, only a couple hundred people is that high on the food chain, so to speak. That just tells you like how many people are really on the platform, and like you really are going to have to work hard and put in a lot of effort. This isn't an industry where you can cut corners. This is something where effort is everything, pretty much.
Yeah,
it's the majority of it. So just keep that in mind. That's all I would say.
I feel like that's I almost want to just name this episode something around effort and being genuine.
Yeah.
Whatever would sound because that's what we keep circling back to, and it truly is like huge pillars is being genuine and putting in that effort and that drive where other people won't. I'm always shocked. I don't know if you're shocked. I'm me, I'm very driven. I always joke I can't even half-ass anything. I not only whole-ass something, I drag everybody else's ass into it too. I have them doing things. I'm very driven. And so when I see people that are like, oh, the panels, perfect example, like, oh, yeah, I saw it, but, I didn't exactly know what I was doing. And so they just stop there. Like, that's where they just stop. I mean, if I stopped at I didn't know what I was doing, you would have never even known my name. Then what do you think YouTube's for? There's so many resources. Just look it up.
I was just going to say, like, what, like if that's where you stop is like, oh, I didn't know how to do it already. It's like, come on, man.
Right.
Look it up. Like, you're telling me when you're in the bathroom you don't have your phone out, like that's when you should be watching this stuff. It doesn't matter.
Yes. Yeah. We all know that when you're microwaving something, you have to take the dog outside, your damn phone is in your hand anyway. Stop looking at freaking Twitter or TikToks or whatever, and put that extra 20 or 30 minutes a day that into learning a skill that will help this grow. That's what's going to kick you up to the next level. Is by constantly learning and following through. Damn it, just follow through. I can't tell you how many people, I was gonna do this. And it's like, just do it. You spent more time telling me about how you were going to do it than it took to do the damn thing.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, anybody, even if you have zero graphic design skill, anybody can watch YouTube videos on how to use Canva and then go use Canva, which is free, and make your own damn panels. Like, it's not going to take 100%. That long.
100%.
You can do it. It might take you a whole day if you're not tech savvy. That's fine. Then now you are. Now you know how to do it. Now you can make your own logo and your own, you can make your own videos look better and all this other stuff.
You know what? Let's talk about that really quick, because this is the and I believe that you just put this out on Twitter recently, and this is the next step. Okay, so now we're kind of at you and I's level, and we're realizing we're overwhelmed. And this would work honestly for somebody that maybe is starting out and they want to take every dollar that they have earned and just put it right back in and reinvest right off the get-go. Hiring an editor, hiring to get a few of these things out. You brought up Fiverr earlier. I think that's great. There are some options that I've used on Fiverr before that were impressive. 24-hour turnaround on some things. I recently just got another editor, so this is my second one, because I do a lot of stuff for Evasion, my other channel. And so I got an editor for my channel, to take the workload off. How are you feeling about this? Because you recently said, "Hey, I hired somebody to also work with me," right? If I'm correct.
Yeah, I'm looking right now, so the applications will close in a few days.
Oh, okay.
So so far I've done all the editing myself. So far all I've hired out for is artwork. So I have 3 or 4 different I guess 4 different thumbnail artists that I work with. So
Okay.
this was a point I was talking about earlier too, with investing your money into your content. And I think, but yeah, hiring an editor is a huge step. There's a lot of ways to do it too. And I did have the advantage of speaking with someone who's already edited for large YouTube channels, to kind of help give me some guidance on what to look for and what to ask for. So if you guys have questions, you can shoot them to me. I'll do my best to help too. Currently, this is a little bit uncharted territory for me, but the thing is, I guess I'm being a little more careful about it, because I do recognize that everyone who has subbed to me so far on YouTube has done it for, like, you know, the style that they're getting now. So my goal is not to shovel off all the work onto someone else. I'm going to keep doing those videos that they already subbed for, and then have the editor help me actually put out some guides, because I don't have time to make guides and edit all my gameplay and stream all the time. So
Yes.
and I'm all about quality over quantity, so I won't put a video out until I really enjoy watching it. So I mean, I don't know if that sounds weird, but I just mean like something that I can be proud of. You know, I don't want to just churn out content for the sake of volume.
Yeah. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. And the time that you're saving, if you can put that back into streaming or working on your other videos, that in turn are actually bringing in enough money to then pay for the editor.
Yep.
It just makes a lot of sense. It's now coming full circle at this point. And people don't have to start off with an editor that's $50 or $60 a video. You know, they can find somebody that maybe can just do the basics, or somebody just make the thumbnails. Like you said, like, making thumbnails isn't easy.
No.
If they could just, you know, get you some thumbnails really quick and take that completely off your plate, maybe identifying some of these areas is really, really helpful.
Yeah, it's huge. So the beginning of this year, so this is August, so in January, maybe December of 2020 into January of this year, my YouTube channel was just hitting 20,000 subs, and I wanted to step it up. It was starting to bring in some money. So I started to reach out to a whole bunch of artists. I found some of them on Fiverr. Again, you should go to Fiverr for like just about any work you might want done on your channel. I promise you will have multiple options, probably some very cheap ones. But I found someone that would hand draw what I wanted, and I was like, whatever, let's just try it. Like, what's the harm? You know, invest. I forget what I paid him, $50-$60 for a really nice hand-drawn painting of, like, it was like this USEC wearing a Colpack helmet, running around with his alpha container in his hand, like a suitcase, running for his life with a pistol in his other hand. And that video, like, popped off. I think that I felt like I was making good videos, but people weren't clicking on them because my thumbnails sucked. So it's like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, I'm learning more about it, but I think it's good to just kind of commission that off to someone who's just better at it. I think it's fine. And that video ended up making way more money than the usual ones, and more than paying for the artist. And I realized I'm just going to do this on every single video. So now some, you know, amount of the budget always goes into that. And now going forward, some of it will go into the editor as well. But again, it's going to bring more views, which is more ad revenue, which is self-justifying. And it's
just snowballing it.
This is how you snowball a channel. Eventually you will grow it to be too big to handle on your own. And that's a good thing.
Well, what from your list am I kind of missing? What have we not covered on some of your advice list and whatnot?
I see a lot of channels that are not monetizing as well as they could, in my opinion. I think that there are a lot of streamers I see that are relying like solely on their viewers giving them money, which is, you know, subs, bits, you know, paying for an jump scare or something. And that's all good, and you should have those things. But if that's your only source of income, you're putting all your eggs into like how much money your viewers are going to give you every stream, and it's like, I mean, you know, if you're a huge streamer, I guess you can do that. But you know, if you're watching this, you're probably not a huge streamer. So Neither are we. I mean, like, or I'll speak for myself anyway. I'm not.
I'm not a huge streamer.
Well, no, but I'm
no,
not like living off just that income. So,
no.
this was the other reason I started a YouTube channel. I know I keep saying that. The ad revenue is quite relevant. It's probably as much as I make on Twitch or more, and that's passive at least because those people aren't giving me money. They're giving me their time, I guess, or they're watching something they want to watch. But we get paid for the ads, and then
Sure.
But there's a lot of other things. So like starting a merch store, for example, is like really easy to do, and you can link it in your panels, and if you make YouTube videos or TikToks or whatever, you can put it in your profile, like a link to it. That's something nice that like people who want to support you further can do and still kind of get something tangible back for it. But that's but now going further into something that isn't your viewers giving you money, creating something like affiliate links, the Amazon affiliate program. Look it up, set up an account. It's free, it's easy. You can you can create a link to any product on Amazon and share that wherever. I'm going to put it in the description of all my videos and in my panels, and make Twitch commands for it. I get asked all the time, what headset do I use? Because in Tarkov, I'm always like hearing these little like noises, and people are like, how the hell did you hear that? And it's like, what headset are you using? It's like, send the link over.
Yep.
If they buy
and
it,
have it be an affiliate link.
Yeah, if they buy it, you get a cut. They don't pay extra. You just get a piece. So that's less money in Amazon's pocket, more in yours, and they're supporting you without while buying something they were probably going to buy anyway. In fact, I believe if they buy other things while they're on site,
they do
through that link, you still get a piece.
Yeah,
and I mean, if you're showing people like your graphics card and they go buy it, it's like, okay,
yeah,
that's going to be a chunk.
And to build on that, I actually recently did this because I only had a few things, because I wear these earbuds. I have my Sennheisers over here that I love. That same thing, I always hear something and people are like, whoa, what headset? But I wear my earbuds a lot now, and people are like, how are you hearing that with earbuds? So I just link them. They're cheap little $30 pair of earbuds. But same thing with the affiliate links. And I thought, wait a minute, I only did this for a couple of items. So I actually went into my panels on my channel, and everything for both my streaming rig and my gaming rig and my monitors, I put every item that I have sitting here that I use for streaming, and I put the affiliate link there. Like you said, they don't pay any extra, and it's a great way to monetize.
Yeah.
But people don't really look at that. So awesome for bringing that part up.
Another one too, this is going to start coming naturally as you start to grow, but you are going to start getting offered brand deals and sponsorships. A, knowing the difference is important. B, being selective about it is important. But you can make a lot of money doing these. So just for those of you who don't know the difference between a brand deal and a sponsorship, a brand deal is usually a one-shot or maybe a short-term thing, like, hey, in your next video in your next 4 videos this month, you're going to make a commercial for our product. They'll go over the specifics of it with you, and then you will be paid X amount of money or whatever you agree upon, and then that's it, you're done, contract over. And then sponsorship is like a longer term thing. So a lot of times you'll scroll Twitch, see people with G Fuel in their title or whatever. That's a sponsorship. Those can be all over the place. Again, just be careful what you're signing on for with sponsorships, especially. I would not rush. Brand deals, lower risk, again, because it's a quick thing. So even if it doesn't go super well, at least it doesn't last. At least you're not tied to it for a year or more. But they can be a really good way to make income, especially if it's a brand that ties well into what you're doing. I just did one for NordVPN a month ago in one of my YouTube videos. It was like a 60-second commercial. I had a lot of fun making it. I segued it in from a computer monitor in customs on Tarkov. I had my character walk right up to it and had the Nord thing pop up and then zoom into the ad, and it try to make it almost seamless, like as if it's almost part of the video. I tried
That's
to make
so cool.
I tried to make it seem like my PMC would get value out of having a VPN, so people couldn't track him as easily and stuff. So it's like they really liked it, so that was fun. So that you do need to be aware that there are some pretty sus offers out there that are trying to prey upon smaller streamers, and try to work with someone who's working with a legit company. if that makes any sense. I guess you'll kind of see more as you start seeing the emails, but you'll get some that are worded very poorly and unprofessionally, and it's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, nothing to do with that, truly.
Yeah, but that's a big one. So just try to think. There are plenty of other things out there, but just try to think like of other ways you can monetize that are not just getting subs and bits and stuff.
Yeah, but like you said, don't put it on your community, month after month after month to pay your bills, because you're gonna be disappointed, and they'll be disappointed, and you don't want that.
Yeah, understand it's going to be a fluctuating number. It's going to go down too sometimes, but as long as it's kind of trending upward, you're in the right direction. Just don't, like you just said, don't put that on them. Like, don't make them feel like, oh, guys, we're 50 subs below our goal now instead of 20 below. Come on. It's like, please don't. I don't know. Like, I get having a sub goal on your screen, but maybe think about how it comes off if, you've got a goal that says 950 out of 960 and you get 10 subs and then you just, change it 960 out of 970, and it's like,
I don't know why people do
what
that.
goal? What goal is it? It's not a goal then.
It's not a goal.
I don't know. Like, yeah. I'm just saying, keep in mind how it comes off to others, because that there's a way to do it. I think having your sub count is fine. That's sort of, people will ask you. It sort of answers their question, and it does kind of gently remind them that they might have a Prime they're not using. That's fine.
We as streamers tend to care about the quality of the merch that we're putting out. Like I ordered stuff and I was like, ooh, I don't like this one, but I ordered Pestely's hoodie and that was really good quality. So then I contacted my company and they were like, yeah, we can change it to, I think it was like Bella and Canvas or something was the name of the hoodie that I got from Pest. That was really good instead of the Hanes one. And they switched it over. It was like $1.50 difference. And when I told my chat that, they were like, oh, that's so cool. Well, then a lot of them are mods for other people, and it kind of spread like, hey, check the quality of your merch. Bell and Canvas, American Apparel makes really soft t-shirts. So I actually started ordering other people's t-shirts because I think it's a really cool way for us to support each other. And they're good quality. They're soft as hell. And I sport them around. Why not?
That's awesome.
Like Batty's t-shirts are super thin and soft, so I ordered 2 of his shirts.
The only other thing I would really advise people starting out is write down like 3 to 5 creators that you would emulate. That's something you like about them. It can be whatever. There's a whole bunch for me. I have way more than 3 or 5, but especially when it comes to YouTube as well. I've got a different set of people there, but kind of, I don't know, just sort of kind of keep that in the back of your mind. Like it's not necessary to always be coming up with something like incredibly innovative that no one's done before. I mean, people like watching stuff, like tuning into things they already think they're gonna like, you could be another solo Rust streamer and people like that. Like, there's enough demand for something like that, right? Because it's hard. There's already natural stakes. Stakes make a story interesting, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So you're playing against, groups of 3 and 4 as a solo. It's pretty cool. It's hard to turn away. So don't worry about like always trying to come up with something brand new. But the other thing I would really advise streamers to do is spend a good amount of time watching others that you do like and ones that are where you want to be, like viewer-wise, that you don't necessarily like, or maybe you just wouldn't normally watch, and try to identify to yourself why they got to where they are. Objectively, like, be reasonable. Don't be like, oh, they just got lucky. We already talked about that.
Right. That's true.
That's not it. There's something there that people like, and figure out what that is. And it'll help you become a better streamer in general. I think, even learning from stuff you don't necessarily enjoy watching. That's
true. I watched a lot of streamers, and I did it with Tarkov because I wanted to be good at Tarkov, and so I watched a lot of Tarkov streamers. A wide variety, and I learned a lot of different things. And the kind of vice versa. I learned about streaming, how they interacted with their chat, and I learned about Tarkov at the same time. So it's kind of like a win-win-win for me. But I agree with that 100%. And only picking the 3 to 5 doesn't mean that you don't like somebody else.
Yeah.
It just don't overwhelm yourself.
Yeah, it's not that you don't like them, but it's like just who you would like emulate, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like
it's really good advice.
Yeah, I'll just give my examples. Like, my play style is some hybrid of smoke and Athos, like almost entirely. So I would emulate them in my play style. I would emulate someone like Stevie or Blueprint for my YouTube editing style, which are both actually Rust creators. I don't make Rust videos, but a lot of their uniqueness translates over well into Tarkov, and putting my own spin on it creates like another level of uniqueness that isn't seen in either. And now I'm starting to make Rust videos too, and it's kind of funny to go back into that and then sort of bring my Tarkov uniqueness into the Rust scene and bring this Rust uniqueness into the Tarkov scene, and then both viewers are getting something they feel like they haven't necessarily seen before. So, you could look outside your own like community too, like for inspiration. There's a lot of good stuff out there.
True. But anyway, so my name is Sigma. Thank you so much, SwampFox, for joining me today. I hope that you guys found this helpful. Make sure that you check out down below. We will have all of the links there that we've discussed throughout the episode. And I also will have all of the links for SwampFox. If you want to check them out on Twitter, on YouTube, or on Twitch, you'll be able to find those down below. Swamp, thanks again. I appreciate this. I had a great time with you.
Yeah, happy to be here. This was fun. Definitely feel free to drop by and ask questions, either of us. And, best of luck out there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Streamer Class. Links to everything discussed in today's episode can be found in the description. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information or to connect with Sigma, follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and join our Discord. We'll see you next time.